Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. And come with me on a very artsy day in Thames, New Zealand. As I mentioned in a previous video, a lot of the sites here close at like 2, 3, or 4 p.m. So I started my day around noon and I was like, let's see as many sites as I possibly can. So I started off at the museum. This museum is one story. It's at the end of Pollen Street, which is like the main street. Um, like and there's plenty of street parking. I'm here in January and it's their summertime and there's still plenty of street parking. So anyways, you walk into this museum. It costs $5 New Zealand that you could pay with a card. You don't need cash, and then you get to just walk around. So it is a pretty small museum, just to FYI. But anyways, the exhibits just showcase the different history of this town. It did really focus on like the 1800s, early 1900s. So this exhibit that I'm looking at is focusing on like the gold mining and then also like the timber industry and the history of that. Then we go into the exhibit about the school, and I just love these rules for teachers. You are not married during your term of your contract. You may under no circumstance dye your hair. You have to wear 2 petticoats. There is a rule that you can't be out if you're a teacher from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. because during this time teachers were female, right? If they were male, they probably wouldn't have these rules. So this exhibit was just to showcase how a classroom would look. I believe they do a lot of like field trips in this museum, so that's why there's probably like more modern stuff on this desk. But because I think there was like interactive stuff for little kids, and in the back there was just like some telephones, again to give the history of like just telephone wires in this area. World War II currency. They had a whole exhibit of like how New Zealand people served in different wars, and so you would they had a whole exhibit of like the different like uniforms you wear and medals and all of that. Now currently I am watching a like video like of the bridge. So there's a bridge that was basically old. They built a new one a few years ago, and this was just the history of that like old bridge being built and then not being used anymore. You can still see the old bridge, and I think they're still trying to fix it so people can walk it. It's right next to like the freeway, because there's history to it. Anyways, this exhibit is all about nursing, doctors, medicine in this part of Thames, because again it was a mining community, and so there was a lot of people that got sick, flu, smallpox, and when you are mining, you breathe in a lot of like dust and toxins, and so it was all about like the first like nurses, the first teachers, that type of history. All right. So this is just like some fun, cool little things, photographs, like cameras. I think there's just like the history of camera. Everything is just really focused on like the history of this particular town. So how like medicine affected this town, how like cameras and technology affected this town, all that. And then I entered this room, which has a lot of like beautiful clothing, but this was more focused on like the women, so the wives that were married to the people that were mining, right? So that came here for the gold rush or for the timber. They usually came from other places, Europe, South Africa, and so it was like, how was their lives affected coming all the way here? In a time where there wasn't a lot of electricity, it was muddy, it was dirty, so how did they adapt to that? So this whole section was really for like women and the different social classes of the women. All right, now I'm watching a video of just, again, like I just said, women, right? The women coming here and how did their lives change by being here. All right, and so then I exit the main hall, and then there was another room that gave the history. I was so happy of the Maori people, so the indigenous people, and it really just gave. Sorry, let me zoom out a bit. The history of the leaders that lived here, the different tribes. So there was this one wall of paintings, and each painting, it was beautifully done. In this book, you can look at it and you can read more about each painting, so about each individual that was showcased. And so it was just really cool just to get the history of all these different people, and I just thought like this is very important. But this was one of my favorite spaces. And then the middle was a display of like how they would build their communities, so that was pretty neat. Then you exit the museum. There is this thing called a suffrage garden, but it's not really like a garden. This is it, but it's something. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, I decided I will actually just shoot like the little car moments from on my phone, because I could easily connect the mic. For some reason, the mic did not want to connect to the camera. So just finished the museum. It was cute. Like it had a lot of history, but I think what sort of threw me off is it gave like old like Grammy vibes. You know what I mean? Like the decor and everything. And I just felt like there was so much history. They could have displayed it a little bit more intriguing. So I was a little disappointed in that. But there's so much history in this town. So, and it's very much a town museum where it's not necessarily the history of like New Zealand or anything like that. It's like this area in particular, which I appreciated. And I also love the fact that they open it up, because you don't see this a lot in a lot of museums. They open it up to like local families that lived here for maybe since the early 1900s, 1800s, the first colonizers, if you will. Basically the people that came from other countries to dig gold. So there was a gold rush here, and there's this whole gold mining experience thing I could do. But anyways, if your family's been here since that long, I don't know what they did, but they opened it up where people were easily able to like donate like photos of old homes, their families, which you don't see in a lot of museums. It's very more like curated, and there's like aesthetic, but it was very much like, if your family's been here, like if you have any like old photos, old school uniforms, any like original like china or anything like that, like you could tell like they asked for those donations. A lot of history. They did history on like the nurses that came here, that whole thing that happened in the 1800s, where late 1800s, where all of a sudden people realized women can be nurses. What? Crazy. That happened here. So women being nurses. School, I took a picture of like the school rules for the teachers, because again, back then that was also a feminine profession, so they had a lot of rules for female teachers, rules that I would break. And then they had like a section of just like their like
people that served in the armed forces, like in the different wars. My favorite two parts though were, one, they had this whole section of like, no, they found like a local like wood carver that really is detailed. I took some videos of it, and he created like these displays out of wood to show like the old buildings that used to be here. They were just beautifully done. Like I would buy one of those just to have as like decor. Like it's just really pretty. And just to see like the different looks from the 1800s, you know. What was sort of sad is a lot of those buildings, when you read the history of them, they like burnt down in like 3 years. So I'm like, okay. Like it was funny. It's like 1876 to 1879 or something. And it's like, okay, so you weren't in business for that long, like a hotel or something like that. So this guy, like, he creates all these displays. The second one, it looks like it's a new one. The Maui people, I think it's as well, are the indigenous people. I'm gonna go to future Nicole here because I don't know if that are the indigenous people, if that's just a blanket term for all indigenous people of New Zealand or just indigenous people in this part of New Zealand. Not 100% sure, but when they talk about indigenous groups, they're always like the Maori people, and so I don't know if that's just this area. But they had this new display which was so beautifully done, and that was my favorite. They had like these art prints of these different indigenous like leaders, and they had a book that because they were just clearly like art prints, so they had a book that had more description of like not just the artist but the person, you know, because I was just like, well, this person was cool, like when they alive and everything. And then they had like a display of like a traditional like indigenous community, if you will. You could tell it was a newer exhibit because it was just a different aesthetic, but I really enjoyed it. But you get done with this museum if you really wanted to in like an hour. It's not that long. But I'm gonna get some coffee, something to eat, and then some gin. I'm trying to get things done, y'all. Like, let's go. Hi, how are you?
I'm good, yourself?
Good, pretty good. Okay, can I have the barbecue pulled pork sandwich?
Yeah.
And then also an iced latte with almond milk.
Yes.
And let's see, hold on. Okay. All right.
All right, sweet.
Okay.
We'll bring it to you.
Awesome. Thank you.
So, have some bottles.
So by the way, this is like one of my favorite little coffee shops in town. I love the aesthetic. And then also they have really good food, which I love a good lunch. And then also like they were open the latest, and it's just like they make really good iced coffee. There was another place I went to where the iced coffee, they put ice cream in it. I have no idea why they did that. But anyways, after I had lunch, I went to this gin tasting room. It is in the building called the Depot, and there's multiple businesses in there. And I was like, why not? Because I don't go gin tasting often. I don't even think I've ever been gin tasting. I think I've been vodka tasting and mezcal tasting.
A little bit. I actually finance more because I have a branding agency, so I work on other clients' projects.
Okay. So like a digital nomad kind of.
Yeah, and I worked on that for so long just to make sure I'm able to do this trip. So had to have a lot of meetings with my business partner to make sure I'm like, you have to do all the client meetings, but I'll do like the back work.
Yeah.
Because there's no way I could like commit to that because I don't know where I'll be.
Okay, I went through this gin tasting really fast. I actually got done with it in 20 minutes. I think when you're just doing a tasting alone and you don't have other people around to like chat with, you could go through it quickly. But the guy was like really nice, and the gin was delicious, really delicious. Their main one that has won a lot of awards is the world's best gin. Is very smooth. So a lot of times I think people don't like gin because it has this like this bite to it. It's not bitter. It's just like it really hits the back of your throat. After you take a sip, right? And so this gin in particular was very smooth, very smooth. And so I really enjoyed it. And so what you would do is he would pour a little, you take a sip by itself, and then he would put some tonic water in it. So you could have it like how you would have it as a gin and tonic, so you can see how it would taste. So there was one that was their main one, the smooth one. The one I didn't try was like this blue one that has some wildflower in it that made it blue because I just wasn't interested in that. And then I went to I had a smoky, like a smoky one, which was really delicious. And then there was one that was like orange flavored type of thing, which gave a nice little citrusy flavor to it. That one I think is such a good, it's the one I'm sipping now, such a good starter gin for people that maybe don't really like gin, because there is a slight citrusy taste to it. Then the one I am trying now, I believe, is like the almost like a whiskey, if you will. You can have it with some like cinnamon stick in it and stuff like that. It's very like, and you could put a dash of it in your whiskey. I believe that's what he said. But anyways, it had the same flavor palette, so I thought that's a good one for people that maybe really enjoy like whiskey and bourbon and things along those lines. And that's one that you don't necessarily put any like water in or any tonics. You just have it neat like whiskey. Oh, that's what he meant. You have it neat like a whiskey. You don't actually put it in a whiskey. There we go. All right, so we were just chatting. He actually let me know there was a group there before from Sacramento. So I was like, oh, yay, more California people. So the last one he pours is this like liqueur gin, if you will, and he says it goes really well with champagne. So you have some champagne and you pour a little bit of this in it. And I thought, oh, that sounds really delicious. And actually, I can see that because I do love a good champagne. I was telling them, I'm like, oh, I really want to buy a bottle, but I'm traveling. I don't want it to break in my suitcase. So I am actually thinking of, before I leave New Zealand, to go back and see if I could order a bottle and have it shipped to my parents because I think they will really enjoy it. He was very nice. Oh, and by the way, this tasting is free. I was expecting to pay like $20. Like I'm like, okay, yeah, it's a tasting, it's gin. No, it's free. So I thought that was pretty cool.
All right, so you guys saw me drink some coffee, have some gin, all both really fun. Now I'm trying to do this sculpture discovery trail. However, this map is okay. I don't know if you can see. It tells you where they are, but as you can notice, there's no names on the streets, and it's a little annoying. There's some landmarks because it looks cool. And when they call it a trail, you think you could walk it and see the artwork, but it looks like I have to drive from place to place to see some of this stuff. But we will see. So I am at this wine place thingy, and wine place thingy, there we go. I don't know if it's a winery or a wine shop, but it's the closest business to this one sign. So I'm trying to see if I could park here and just walk to see that. Maybe I'll go in and ask for directions to it. And then, yeah, so let's see that. And it's about 3:26. So everything you saw me do today so far, I've done within 3.5 hours. So as you can tell, things don't take a very long time here. And I waited to do this towards the end because it is January and it's a Monday. The sun sets around 8:20 and all the businesses close around 3 or 4. So I decided, let me do all that business stuff early and then do this towards the end. I don't think I will. Of course, the second I start filming, my husband starts texting me back, but it is what it is. So it keeps like cutting the video, and I hope that doesn't ruin it in the long run. Anyways, what was I gonna say? Oh, I lost my train of thought. Thank you so much, Nicholas. Oh, sorry. I may not vlog as I go from artwork to artwork because it is gonna just be me like, oh, look at this art piece, and then get back in my car and then drive. So I think the next few clips are just going to be photos of the artwork, and I hope y'all enjoy that with a little voiceover. But let's go into this business and see, can I walk to this sculpture called Poetic Directions from their business, or do I have to turn on some side street and it's like further behind? Because even on this map, like, look, that's where I'm trying to. All right, I'll try to show y'all where I'm trying to go. Do you see that one? Poetic Directions, right? I am here. I want to know, like, oh, is it across the street? Huh. You know what? No, it's not. And by the way, it's not a street. It's a freeway. It has, it looks like it's behind it. So I just want to know, can I walk? Or is this trail sort of blocking it and I have to go on this like little street here to reach that? All right, we will see.
Okay, almost getting off the road because I couldn't make this one turn because I couldn't tell for another sculpture I want to see. I couldn't tell if the road I was pulling onto was going to be like a private residence. So I actually parked at their aviation school right now, so I really hope they're okay with that because I'm like, it's going to be quick, like less than 10 minutes. Took a picture of one artwork, and now I'm walking towards this sculpture right here, which is, I think, called the Miner's Gate. And I'll add this also to Google Maps because for some reason, none of these sculptures are added to Google Maps. Wood. Okay, sorry, no mic, but because I'm just too lazy to plug it in. All right, I'm at Victoria Park. Yeah, Victoria Park. I don't think it's Queen Victoria Park, but it's meant for Queen Victoria because it's in the street that's right next to it. It's Albert Street, so it's Victoria and Albert. But anyways, all right, so I'm at Victoria Park because I'm trying to find this other sculpture called the Color Harmonics. And it looks like it's close to the dog park. I like how they spell color with a U. Okay, close to the dog park. And the dog park on Google Maps is close to Victoria Park. It's sort of right in the middle. But when you do Google Maps to the dog park, it sort of takes you like, it's this coastal line. So there's really not a place to park. Where you could just easily get out, like, you know. So I was like, okay, so I'll go to Victoria Park because that seems like, you know, according to the pictures, there's like a lot more going on and there's probably parking. So I parked in one area of the park. It's not far. But then I was just like, there's no signs telling me where the sculpture is. But if you look up Victoria Park on Google Maps, people take pictures and they take pictures of that sculpture, but yet no one has put where in that park the sculpture is. So anyways, I'm walking, I can't find it. So I walk back to my car thinking, let me go left instead of right. I started walking right. I was taking some pictures, looked to the right. In the distance, I see color, like it's near the coast. So then I start driving because I'm like, all right, let me get in my car. Let me try to go a little bit closer and see where it's at. Like, and then let me show y'all. Let me show you. Do you see that color line right there? The color, not color line, but the color fence. I walked this path to the color fence and I was just like, all right, I'm going to stop and walk back to my car and go the other way because this is clearly a fence. After this, there's nothing else. I start driving and right there where you see the color fence, right? The color poles and everything, there's this path. Is there a sign that there's a path? No, there's a path. So then context clues, I'm gonna walk that path and it'll probably take me to that sculpture that is also color. Okay, we're gonna do it. All right, I found this art piece. It's called Color Harmonics, but it's starting to rain. So I should get, oh, and you can hear that noise. It's just, that's like a recycling plant over there. Don't worry, someone didn't spill a lot of things. All right, right when I start walking here, it started to rain, but it should pass. Okay, let me add this spot though to Google Maps and then get back to my car. It's not far. It's just, okay, we gotta get back to the car. Hey, thank you all for watching this artsy video of my time in Thames. Stay tuned for the next video. Bye.